Let me tell you what our Project 2025 is. Beat the hell out of them.
President Biden riffing on the highly controversial Project 2025. On the very same day, a bombshell secret recording exposed the actual plans from that group and their real links to Trump. The video, part of an undercover sting by the Center for Climate Reporting. It shows Trump White House veteran Russell Vought, who later went on to help create Project 2025, talking about the plan, including how they think Trump should use the military if he were to get back into office.
The president has, the ability both along the border and elsewhere to maintain law and order with the military, and that's something that it's going to be important for him to remember and his lawyers to affirm. But we've given them the case for that.
Oh, it doesn't stop there. Quote, Vought said he is overseeing the drafting of hundreds of executive orders, regulations, and secretarial memos. These include plans for the largest deportation in history and a proposal to use the military against U.S. citizens to suppress large-scale protests in response. Donald Trump has desperately tried to distance himself from Project 2025 in the past weeks, but Vought suggests that the relationship remains very strong.
I expect you to hear 10 more times from the rally the president, distancing himself from the left's boogeyman at Project 2025. It's interesting. He's in fact not even opposing himself to a particular policy. Yeah. He's been at our organization. He's raised money for our organization. He's blessed it from the, I remember walking into our last day in office and told him what I was going to do. So he's very supportive of what we do.
The Trump campaign responded to the video saying, quote, President Trump's campaign made it clear that only President Trump and the campaign, not any other organization or former staff, represent policies for the second term. Joining me now is Aisha Mills, Democratic strategist, and Ophira Haskell, former advisor to Tim Walz at the Democratic Governors Association. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining me this evening. Aisha, I'll start with you. At some point, I think the Republicans probably will have to realize that they're not going to beat the allegations, right? You're not beating the Project 2025 allegations. Everybody knows that you're responsible for it one way or another. What do you think it says about the state of their campaign that you have these conflicting messages? You have people on tape saying, yes, he's down with us, and you have the Trump campaign saying, no, we're not, but nobody believes them. What does that say about the campaign?
Well, first of all, Jason, when are they going to learn that they need to do better vetting and they need to do their homework, because they are getting got on tape, just talking all crazy, and then want to act like, they're embarrassed and that they somehow were harmed because people are revealing the things they truly believe and the things that they actually say. Right. The reality is that, look, they're in total disarray. I mean, we know that the Trump campaign, God bless them, whoever is there that is a bona fide, political operative on the Republican side, has been trying to do their best to put arms around the campaign, have some structure, actually run a real game. And, their candidate is just popping off any direction, and there's nothing that they can do to control them. What's interesting, though, is that we are discovering who is actually pulling the strings around the nefarious policy agenda that they're plotting. And that's what we've got to be paying attention to, because I have been one that said all along that Donald Trump is really a symptom and a figurehead of a lot of the underbelly of America that has always been there. He didn't just show up and all of a sudden things got really murky and dark and ugly. These guys like Vought here that was interviewed are the ones who have had a many decades long sinister plot and plan to take us back to the dark ages. And so I'm glad that that's being revealed. But let us keep our eyes on the prize, that this is a presidential campaign and one guy who is crazy at the top of a ticket. But even when Donald Trump goes away and when we beat him, these folks are still going to be there doing this work. Right.
I want to play, I want to play you some sound, further sound from Vought about what their plans are, because I don't think we can stress enough what Aisha just said. Even if Donald Trump is defeated in November, these people aren't gone, and their plans will continue. What's your thoughts on the sound on the other side?
I think you have to rehabilitate Christian nationalism. You have the largest deportation in history, block funding for Planned Parenthood. I want to be the person who crushes the deep state. 80% of my time is working on the plans of what's necessary to take control of these bureaucracies. And we are working doggedly on that, whether it's destroying their agency's notion of independence. They're independent from the president.
Afira, so we have Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in Maryland talking about reducing the cost of insulin and making medicine more affordable. And then you've got Project 2025 apparatchiks basically saying we're going to destroy the infrastructure necessary in order to make healthcare more reasonable. How dangerous is this when you hear these kinds of plans and the fact that they will continue even if Trump is defeated?
Well, I think Governor Walz put it best. Who even asked for this stuff? It's so extreme. It's so dark. It's divisive. It's chaotic. And he also put it best when he said that they just want the freedom to invade your exam room, to go into your doctor's office, and to go into your bedroom. This is a dangerous playbook that Republicans across the country are trying to run away from. No matter how hard they try to, they can't. There are Republicans in some of the states that we are seeing governor's races, like North Carolina, who are trying to say that they don't want to ban abortion. They're running ads on TV trying to say that. But I think we all know the truth, that they put in writing, they've made it clear behind closed doors that that's exactly what they want to do. And Donald Trump, the only promise that he ever kept was overturning Roe. So I think we should take them at their word when they're drawing up these playbooks. Again, to Governor Walz said, you don't drop a playbook and then not run the play. I think a coach would know that best. And so I think, this is just a strong contrast to the optimism, the joy that we've seen from Vice President Harris, from Governor Walz. And I'm so glad that we saw the Vice President with President Biden today in Maryland laying out a really, really strong message about how to deliver for the middle class on lowering costs. That's been a winning message across the country for Democratic governors. We've seen that in the blue wall from Michigan to Wisconsin to Pennsylvania, states that the Trump campaign desperately, desperately needs to win in November. And I think they're doing everything to turn off voters in those states by laying out these extreme, divisive, weird agendas.
Afira, I want to follow up with that because Governor Walz it passed some incredible policies. He pushed through things in the House and things in the Senate. He had some incredible policies. And we know that states are sort of the laboratories for democracy. Just name two policies that he helped pass as governor that we know the American people as a whole would want to become national policy should he and Vice President Harris win the election in November.
Well, he passed a middle-class tax cut for working families. I think that's something Democrats know that connects with people. Meanwhile, President Trump and J.D. Vance are talking about more tax cuts for their billionaire friends. I don't think that's resonating for voters in Georgia or across this country where they need to pick up folks